So hello to you all, this is the Shane Duggan Show, episode 9. My special guest today is Mr. Damien Tiernan.
How are you, Shane?
How's it going, boy?
Good, thanks for having me.
Welcome to my kitchen in Dungarvan.
Lovely, thanks.
We have meals here such as our breakfast, dinner, lunch.
Well, anytime you're invited into somebody's house, it's a nice thing, genuinely, so thank you very much, appreciate it.
And thank you very much for taking your time out of your busy schedule to come here. You had a busy morning this morning in Dungarvan College.
We were down at the college, doing a lot of positive stories down there, and there's a lot of interesting people and people that have gone back to college or are doing college or they're going into post-leaving cert courses, and there's still a lot of people around the country that can't read or write, and that they're looking at getting just basic stuff, and the idea of going in and just asking that one question and going in. So there's loads of positive stories around, you know.
You'd be probably surprised as well the amount of people that are actually afraid to admit that.
Yeah.
But it's more common than we realise.
Very much so. And then people might have had a basic education at school, could be 30, 40 years ago, and they've become a lorry driver, they become something that it doesn't really affect them that much, filling out forms and stuff. They don't need it that much, or they get other people to do it. And when you hear stories like that of people going back and bettering themselves, and it's amazing, because particularly people in their 50s, I suppose, it's difficult. Many people around that age. Yeah. It's a difficult thing to do, but also young boys and girls not knowing what to do. Like when I was a young lad, I hadn't a clue what I was going to do. So people change careers or change ideas what they're going to do, you know.
Busy morning there overall, so you're there early, really.
We were there at 9 o'clock and heading back now to do another few interviews in Waterford for the radio station.
It doesn't end, does it?
No, it doesn't
end. Just looking up a bit about you there. You were the Southeastern correspondent for RT for 23 years, is that right?
23 years, yeah. I was the second.
A long time now.
A long time, I know, yeah. I was the second youngest correspondent ever appointed in RTE. I got lucky. The way I've worked, I suppose, you get a chance, you get a lucky break, and then you work hard during that particular area, then you might get a lucky break. You kind of create your own luck.
How old would you have been when you started with RTE then?
When I started with RTE, I did a year on Ear to the Ground, the farming programme, and from that then I got into RTE, and I joined RTE in 1995, so I was only 24.
Same age as myself now.
24.
Yeah.
And a year and a half later then I was appointed. It was December 96 I was appointed, so I was only 25 when I was appointed South East correspondent. Sorry, I would have been 26 at that stage. Yeah.
Still very young regardless. Yeah.
So there's a woman that went over to the BBC, Orla Gearan, no relation of Veronica Gearan, Orla Gearan, and she became a war correspondent with the BBC. She was the youngest appointed, so it was just one of those things that the job in the South East came up. I'm from Wicklow originally, and I had worked for a year in the New Ross Standard, so I kind of knew the South East, and just it came up and I was the right place at the right time, you know. So
very good. Nice to get that little bit of luck.
It was great, yeah. I was very lucky.
Enjoy your time there overall? You did?
Loved it, really loved it, you know. It's a great job, and working for RTE is a great job. I know there's some problems happening at the minute and all that sort of stuff, but I don't regret 1 minute of it.
Yeah,
really enjoyed it. Yeah, there's times like you would have been very busy, and there's other times you wouldn't have been so busy, and you're on call 24 hours a day. But you get used to that, and
you just adapt to it. It's like any job, isn't it?
Yeah. Like I'm involved in local soccer and football and stuff, and be managing a few teams or whatever, and I still play a bit of soccer with Park Rangers. But
that's your local club, is it, Park Rangers?
That's for the soccer. Yeah,
very good.
I'm involved with Bows as well, coaching in there. And last year I was a coach on the Villa girls team. So there's a lad called Ducks. He's in Bows, and he says I've more clubs than Tiger Woods. You get a good bit of slag in there on that.
Busy,
you know?
Yeah. It's nice to be involved in all sorts, though, isn't it?
It's great, and if you give something back for the children, and obviously it's great to be able to do something like that, and it's great to see people improve whatever they're going to be doing, you know. But sometimes I give the phone, if I'm playing with Park Rangers, I might give the phone to Jimmy Pepper, be the manager, or one of the other lads, and they'd mind the phone. This is when I was in RTE.
Yeah.
They'd have the phone on the sideline when I'm playing the match. And I'd say,
if you get a call at any time,
I'd say if there's a murder, you answer the phone, and they'd be laughing.
There's a bit of slagging attitude, but it's good to have a bit of fun too.
You have to have a bit of fun. Yeah.
It was January of last year when you started with WLR.
January 2019. Yeah. So
how did you find the transition from RTE to WLR?
Very interesting. When I left RTE, I didn't know what I was going to do. The WLR job came up afterwards, so I just the decided to go for it, and really thought about it, and said it'd be a big change, and I thought, and luckily I got it, and came up as that, and I just thought it's a massive difference, because when I was in RTE I spent 25 years, 23 years, whatever, not having a personality, in the sense that you don't express yourself. Whereas in WR, and obviously doing the show, following in the footsteps of Billy McCarthy and Eamon Keane, you have to express yourself, and you have to have a bit of an opinion.
Big boots to fill as well, make no mistake about it.
But you have to also let people talk and let them tell their story. And then it's a completely different career, in the sense that doing a show, like if you think about it, 2 hours broadcasting live a day, and you break each hour down into a quarter, so that effectively works out at 8 stories a day.
8 quarters, if you will.
Yeah, so 8 stories a day, that's 40 stories a week. So in RTE I might have only been doing 2 stories a week, maybe 3. So now you're doing 40 stories a week.
Jeez, that's a substantial difference.
It is. So you have to know a lot about things, and you have to, and they say, I don't know where somebody came up with the figure, but you have to know 15% more than your audience. So you have to know a little bit about everything. You have to do a bit of research about stuff. And you can't mess it up, and you can't pretend you know something when you don't, because
you'll be found out immediately. Sure,
of course, the audience will tell you. People will ring in or text in, and you'll just know yourself. So there's no room for bullshit. You can't do bullshit. You have to basically be straight up. If you don't know something, you just say it. Just be honest and just say it.
And people appreciate honesty as well, of course.
Yeah. So I'm in there at 8 o'clock every morning. The hours are like, it's the first time in 22 years that I've been on a shift. Because when I was in RTE, I was on call, but I was like a free agent, in the sense that I wasn't on a shift. I used to ring into the newsroom at 8:30 every morning, go on a story, might be finished at 5:30. Other days might be doing other stuff. So, but now I have to be in at 8 o'clock every morning, regardless.
Yeah.
And you have to get the program ready. Then you've got the program on for 2 hours. Then you might take a half an hour break or whatever. Then you're working on the next day's program, and you might have to go out to do interviews or go different places. So
gathering all the information required.
Yeah. So on the contract actually says my official work hours are from 8 o'clock to 4 every day. So that's a shift, and that's 5 days a week, like in a factory.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
And then sometimes I'll be working later, or I might do an interview in the evenings, or might have to come into the weekend. But I love it. No, it's been great. The transition has been tough, but very enjoyable.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's not many, I suppose. You wouldn't like. Was there anyone else really with a big name that worked with RT from this neck of the woods? Really, was there? I can't think of any.
There's a few still working around, and there's a few that have been in different parts. Like for example, a lot of people like Paul Reynolds from the Crime Correspondent. He's not from here, but he worked in WR in the past.
Yes.
There's others that have worked in. Richard Dowling would have been in RT, and he was the Northwest Correspondent, Northeast, and he's from Faithleg and from town. And there'll be a few around the Southeast, yeah. But in terms of people still living here and people still working here, there wouldn't be very many. So
yeah. Is Sean Organ still involved?
Sean is still involved with WR. Yeah, he's working away, and
Sunday, isn't it?
Yes, he works away, and Sean does a great show, and he's brilliant.
He has to go on with a good while now, isn't it?
He is, yeah. Sean is great.
Oh my God, let the rain there. Shocking, isn't it?
A lot of heavy rain.
I'm just looking up a bit about you as well. You studied in Dublin.
Yep.
What course did you do?
I did a course in arts in UCD when I was in college. When I was in school, they were telling me to be an engineer. In the 80s, there was no jobs, so everybody was saying you had to emigrate. And the only jobs you could get would be maybe engineering. So I stupidly decided or tried to do honours maths and physics and chemistry for the Leaving Cert, and I ended up getting passes in all of them because I wasn't very good at them.
But they're different. They're tough for anybody.
But I was trying to do them on the basis of trying to get a job in engineering, and I got offered 2 sort of post-Leaving Cert courses in engineering, and then I got offered a course in UCD, my 7th choice in my CAO for arts. And I was the eldest of 5 children. My daddy was a Garda sergeant, so they didn't really know what to do, and I didn't know what to do, and I kind of made a decision. I said if I got into engineering or did that sort of stuff, I'd probably be very unhappy. And it's funny, that's why going to the Dungarvan College today and hearing about people.
It must have been close to home.
Yeah, and just hearing about people talking about different types of courses. So I chose the UCD one, and I did English and, of all things, philosophy. And I remember my parents wondering, what the hell is philosophy? And where are you going to get a job with that? But I kind of worked it on the basis that all I needed was to try and do a good degree. It didn't matter what the subjects were in. And once I did that, then I might do something else.
Yeah.
So
other doors might open.
Exactly. So I only could do that if I would choose subjects that I actually enjoyed, because I wasn't going to do well at subjects I didn't enjoy. So,
like many of us, I suppose, really, isn't it? Yeah.
I know, and there's so many people that are in careers over the years, and they kind of fall into it after school, and their mammy or daddy or somebody might have told them this is a good job to do, it'll be good for you. Yeah. And you might get used to it, but you might also feel there's something else out there. So you could
retire then, and you could. I spent the last 20-30 years here, and I hated every bit of it. It's great to hear. You don't often hear many people saying, "Geez, I love my job."
Yeah.
You don't. It's
no,
very
you don't.
Scarce.
And I'm so lucky that kind of a light bulb moment happened to me when I was a young lad at that age, and I kind of just said, I'm not going to go down that route of maths and engineering. I thought I'd become stressed. You could become depressed. You could become anxious. You could become contrary.
Yeah, and absolutely.
And luckily, and then when I got into college, and I didn't know what I was going to do, and I said I better try and do something. So I started doing reviews of albums and books and stuff like that for the college newspaper, but I didn't have enough money to buy the albums. So I used to read the reviews, and I used to write reviews on the basis of my review. And
that's a nice little loophole there. Yeah.
And I used to go in then, and sometimes you go in, and maybe on a Monday morning there might be cheap student prices into the cinema, but then I'd stay there and go and watch another movie as well, sneak into another one, or go into HMV and listen to a few. You can listen to the songs on the headphones in the record shops as they were then, so you wouldn't have to buy it. Got a few things printed, and then I said I better try and apply for something. So I applied for a course in Galway in NUIG, a postgraduate course in journalism. So I got my 2-1. I was lucky, studied hard, got a few lucky breaks, got into that course in Galway. But I was only on a waiting list for that course, and I went over to work in Glasgow for the summer with my uncle, and I was working in a really crappy bar, and I was working in WH Smith's, and I kept ringing the head of the college in Galway in the course every week,
trying to find out.
Yeah, and he gave it to me then. He after 10 weeks he said, a place has just come up and we're giving you the place, he said, because you're the only one that's been ringing.
So you obviously showed a keen interest for it, Damien.
Exactly. So even though I didn't have, maybe there might have been others with better IQ or better ability, I had the persistence. And to me, that's the trick. Thing. It is, and in a way, that's what journalism is all about. It's persistence, and it's about don't let the bastards grind you down. You'll come up against roadblocks, and the system will or a voice in your head will say, forget about it. But you have to say, hold on now, how do I get around this? So investigative work that I've done on different stories over the years, that's where it's come from, that persistence. And it got me into journalism. I was lucky to get into it. Played a bit of soccer and stuff and football over the years, and the same type of thing as well. I know my limitations. So, for example, I was never very fast, and I only have a left foot. Can't kick with the right foot.
Oh, right. The right foot's just for standing on, so
not even for that. It's useless. No, it shouldn't even be there. So I'd always, and any lad I'd be marking, I'd say I can only kick with the left foot, and they'd be telling me to feck off. But I know how to play my game on the basis of my limitations.
Play to your strengths.
Play to your strengths.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things when I'm coaching young lads and girls in the soccer, this is what I'd be telling them and stuff like that as well. And the same thing applied then regarding my journalism. I played to my strengths. So I got that course in journalism in Galway, and then I got lucky. I got into a bit of work experience in the Wicklow People, because my parents are from Newtown Mount Kennedy.
I actually read that as well.
Yeah, that's where I'm from.
How long did you spend?
Just spent a year in the Wicklow People and the Wexford People and the Euro Standard, and again, I was religious when I was younger, and then I didn't. Not very religious now, but at the time there was some Carmelite nuns in New Ross, and a journalist had never been to talk to them, and I just thought, that might be a nice piece, and I went and spoke to them, and I did a piece then, and I sent it off to the national papers, and that got printed, and I was the first journalist to go in there in 120 years to talk about it, since they were set up there.
So, like my teacher used to say in school, you found a niche there.
Yeah. And from that,
doing something that nobody else was doing,
and I wrote that in a nice way, and I wasn't in any way I just told the story as it was, and that got me an article, and that article then got me an interview with RTE. So from the small little things, somebody else can have.
It's just all about, from what I'm gathering, it's all about being in the right place at the right time, or the lucky breaks.
Yeah.
Isn't it? It really is like
a combination of that.
Yeah.
And knowing when you get that lucky break that you are lucky, but also you might have created the luck. You put yourself in in an aspect. Again, it's like thinking of the football terms. You gamble. I know we were playing, Park Rangers were playing Dungarvan over 35s last year. There's a few lads on the Dungarvan team, and they keep shouting, "Gamble!" And
make that last ditch run into the box.
Just run into the, just in case the ball breaks. And it's a great phrase. It's like, obviously I'm not into gambling. Nobody would be encouraging gambling, but in terms of on the field and also in life, just take the chance. Put yourself in the position that if the ball does break to you, that you will be able to pull on it. If you're not there, it's not going to happen. The same thing would apply in my career, and see how it goes. And if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen.
Well, you know, nothing lost. Say you went for it. Then.
Yeah, you went for it, exactly. Yeah.
What did you play hurling as well? Or
no,
just a big ball.
From Wicklow, like, it wouldn't be.
No, but when you,
I know when you the lads would be slagging like in Wicklow. There's no hurling in Wicklow, but there is some good hurling in Wicklow. But to be fairly hefty hurlers now.
Obviously,
Kiltegan and
a big degree of it is taken up by the football, obviously.
Yeah. Would have played a lot of Gaelic football, and I played soccer. Was with Bray Wanderers with the youth team and the second team, and dislocated my knee twice, so that kind of put an end to my serious football career. And came down, and I actually travelled. I spent a year and a half, nearly 2 years, travelling from Waterford up to Newtown Kennedy in Wicklow to play Gaelic football.
Just to play the football.
Junior football.
Oh my, Junior B.
Yeah. Junior fucking B.
The lowest of the low.
And I'll tell you.
But we want to. What I like about that as well, though. Obviously, it's not as serious. But the 30 fellas playing that, they're all enjoying it.
Oh yeah, the commitment, yeah.
They're all enjoying it. And you got can go for a few pints or whatever afterwards.
We were a senior team, got promoted up to intermediate, and we won the championship, and then we were going senior, and then I just said it's too much training, so I transferred to Galtier. So that was in the year 2001. So playing with Galtier for the last few years, senior, and for the first few years, then I played junior, then for the last while. So really enjoyed it.
But enjoyed it all, and
loved it.
I made plenty of great friends out of it.
Fabulous friends.
Yeah, it's like that's like when you go on. Do you ever find now, like a few people I've been taught afterwards, and they listen to the interview and they'd say, "Geez, I found it weird there hearing my own voice back." Do you find it strange? Like me listening to it now, it didn't really. Yeah. Obviously, there's a big difference between me and you, but listening to it back, it didn't really kind of bother me. Like, but it bothered some people. Would it bother you?
It wouldn't bother me. Yeah. No. Or
would you find it weird, like just hearing your own voice?
At the start, you would definitely at the start, and they say as well, like in a way, there's not that much difference in you and me because you're broadcasting, you want to tell stories and you want to hear stories.
Geez, yeah,
so I know there's a difference, but
it's like a BMW and a micro.
I don't like BMWs.
No, an Audi, so no.
An Audi, yeah. I'll go to the Audi. But in the sense that it's all about storytelling and it's all about having the crack and having the laugh. It's the same thing you do when you sit down with the mammy or you sit down and have a pint over whatever it is, you know. You're telling stories.
Yeah,
sometimes the best stories are the ones you get at the kitchen table or in the bar or in the restaurant or whatever.
The ones you weren't expecting to get, I suppose.
Yeah, and the simple stories. And so at the start, and sometimes I hear my voice back on YouTube and stuff like that 20 years ago, and I've a real squeaky voice, and here I am now. And we had a guy in RTE, the first, he came in from the Gaiety School of Acting, and he said to us, it'll take you 7 years to develop your voice.
Where did that figure come from?
He said it works it out, and he basically what he was saying is, excuse me, you will put on, you have your normal speaking voice.
Yeah.
But then if you start broadcasting, you'll develop a different type of voice. So you'll
maybe even without realising it. Like
correct. Yeah. And then you'll assimilate other people's voices, and then you'll try something, and then you'll be trying too hard, and you'll go back and you'll forward. And then he said basically after a good few years, you'll end up having a broadcasting voice, which is the same way that you speak.
Yeah.
So ideally, because you'll even find you talk differently. It's like I'd be giving out to my mother, and I was from Lisdoonfarr now, and she's on the phone to somebody down in Lisdoon. She talks in a Lisdoon accent.
Yeah, quite. Just
because you slip back into your old accent. Yeah. Whereas
once again, probably sometimes without even realising it, like
totally. And the same that happens in broadcasting. So some people that slag me would have a broadcasting voice, and the lads in the football team be very good. They'd always keep your feet on the ground. And I remember doing a piece up in the strawberry fields up in Enniscorthy one day, and for the next week I was called Strawberry Head. And then all the tragedies, God forbid, and then one of the lads, Colin, his nickname for me then was Tragedy Tiernan.
Oh so my God.
Passed the ball to Tragedy. You'd have a bit of crack and a bit of slagging, and that's the way to do it, you know.
Oh, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, but the voice thing, yeah, you would. You'd, and then doing the radio stuff now, you have to just, I suppose, try and let people talk. You have to be understandable. Try not to curse on the radio. That's a good thing to do.
But
you know?
would it say, do you know your contract now at WR? At some point, does it say that?
If I cursed,
Yeah.
I'd be sacked.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't say that.
No.
No,
or no, does it say like we encourage no cursing?
we encourage no cursing. No, Jesus, no, it doesn't.
And what like is I suppose your
I know.
audience is so broad, like children,
yeah.
teens, adults, the elderly, like everyone is. Do you know what I mean?
What obviously you don't want to do anything to bring a company into disrepute. So you don't want to do that. So if I did, like I was down actually because I have to do all the controls as well. First time I was down in Dungarvan studio, I didn't know that the controls when my mic is open, the whatchamacall ads are going out and you can still hear my voice. So they were shouting at me, put the mic down, and as I pushed it down, I said, "Oh fuck." And I didn't get sacked for it, so it was grand, you know.
But that just shows even some of the experiences.
Oh, you have to be so careful.
But we're all human.
Oh yeah.
Anybody can make a mistake.
Yeah, yeah, you have to be so careful. But you get used to it, and no, you try not to use any rude words. And then for the audience, as you say, a lot of the audience for Day Shift today would be, I suppose, generally be over 30. Then there'd be a good mixture, and I'm trying to get a lot of mixture into it. So
yeah.
I'd be doing a lot of other stuff with different bits and pieces, trying to get different age groups in, you know.
It's like my father when he used to do the discos. There's some DJs, they do the new music, the fast music, the slow music. My father used to all to say, Studio 8, he said, we cater for all events. So it was for all and everyone, do you know.
Mix it up.
Yeah, which
That's
is
the
great.
It is the way to do it.
It has to, because
yeah.
it's very hard to just have it directed towards one certain, you know.
No, because it gets boring then. And again, if you go back to what good radio is about, is like a good conversation. So if you're having a chat at the dinner table, you're not going to come in and talk about all the bad news all the time. You'll mix it up,
yeah,
and you'll talk about good things. Now, a news editor said to me once, news is when the bus is late. And by that he meant was, you're not going to come in and say, oh Jesus, great, the bus is on time. The first thing you'll say is, oh, the bus was late. So you'll give out about stuff.
Yeah, you'll hear the bad before you hear the good.
You will. You'll hear
yeah.
about somebody up the road who's got cancer. Then you will hear, hopefully, somebody up the road has been cured of cancer.
Yeah.
But news is when the bus is late. News is the bad news, unfortunately.
And unfortunately, the bad, more often than not, the bad outweighs the good, doesn't it? At
yeah,
times.
And like you hear about deaths, like people talk about the deaths, and the death notices on the radio station are still, people listen to that because they want to know who's dead. Because it's important in the community if somebody has been unwell and you want to wish their sympathy and whatever the case may be, you know.
And some people mightn't have heard, so it's great. It's a great way to get the word out.
Yeah.
Anyone that wanted to know it. Someone maybe they might listen to it online and they're not living in the area anymore. They might be gone out abroad. That'll be their way of, you know.
Exactly,
so,
yeah, exactly, yeah.
But the first thing my mother said is when you're coming into place, you can't curse them. That's the first thing she said.
I'm not allowed to curse, Mary, no. Fuck it, I won't then. Sorry, Mary. No, you're not allowed to curse, exactly, yeah. It's a funny thing, swear words, you know. I would have, when I was studying English in college and stuff, and I still like reading books about English and the origins of words, and we're going to do a new thing now in the programme the new year about accents and about where words come from and stuff, because words
that'd be very interesting nowadays.
Words have so many different meanings in the past, like so many different meanings compared to what they are now, and how you say things as well. Like you could say feck it or eff it like if you say it in a bad way, if you say it at 2 o'clock in the morning in Grattan Square, you could get into trouble in a certain way.
Oh yeah.
Whereas if you say it in a nice way to a friend in a funny way, you're grand.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know. Yeah. I
so
know
it's
exactly
all that,
you
know what I mean? It's how you say things differently and that's one of the problems with text messages and all that sort of stuff on phones.
You don't know what context.
You don't understand, you know, you don't. You're better off just ringing somebody and talking to them about it.
But even now, there's one word now. Did you ever hear the word scaldy?
Yeah, scaldy.
Now, I never heard of that now. Only till maybe the last few years, but like friends in college and stuff. And they'd say, oh, we were on a wicked session, geez, to a scaldy enough. Or day 2 of the session, now, Jesus, scaldy enough. And I still probably don't know what it means exactly. Like, I couldn't give you, maybe a mad session, or it was bad enough, like, but until maybe 2 or 3 years ago, I'd never heard that term.
Some word like the word gouger, you wouldn't know what a word gouger, like gouger kind of different meanings, and Gowler and all sorts of different things, especially in Waterford. It's like great, loads of words in Waterford, and each area, Dungarvan has its own words, and you go out to Shanafubble had different words as well.
Oh jeez, Dave! Oh my God, they do.
Down to Tallow.
But like down, I can remember like playing the city teams, like, and they'd say their girlfriend, whatever, like the lack, and down here, well, maybe they do use down here, but we'd hear the word Bjor more than you'd hear lack.
Yeah.
But what would your definition of a Bjor be?
You see, Bjor, you'd never hear that in the city normally. Bjor.
You
wouldn't.
Definitely
that's
not.
a real Dungarvan.
100% not. It's a Dungarvan thing, isn't it?
Yeah. As far as I know, it's a term of affection. Normally it would be. It can be said in other ways as well.
Oh yeah. But you wouldn't hear. Well, very rarely anyway would you hear the word lack down.
You wouldn't down here. No. Yeah.
But even now you're on about.
What club would you be involved with yourself?
I played with Dungarvan for, not playing anymore, but played for a number of years. Still go out, watch all the matches.
Very good.
It's just the championship now is kind of being Ballygunner, as you know, are kind of taking over. They're playing the Munster final now Sunday. I think they'll actually win again, to be honest with you. Very impressive the last time.
Yeah.
Boris Lee from Tipperary in the Munster final.
Yeah. I think they'll win. They'll win by 10 points.
And funnily enough as well, if Ballygunner win their Munster final, and if Ballyhale win their Leinster final, which I think they will, we'll end up with the same last 4 teams in the All-Ireland series as last year. Schlockneil from Derry, St Thomas's from Galway,
amazing, yeah.
Ballygunner from here, and Ballyhale. But Ballygunner won't play Ballyhale until
the final, if they get to it, yeah.
So it'll be interesting.
Would you like to see them win it?
I would, yeah. It'd be nice to see the Waterford crowd win it.
Yeah,
I would now,
definitely,
yeah.
I
wouldn't. There'd be no grudges there, but Ballyhale certainly, they're going to be the team to stop. Like TJ Reid and a few other players there, they're still
very, very strong.
The longer he's playing, the better he seems to be getting. I don't know what it is.
32, yeah, he's amazing.
But no, I don't. It's either St Thomas or they'll be playing with the North or the Galway crowd in the semi-final, so it'll be interesting.
Yeah.
But even now, see a group of my friends there, we all kind of played, like, I still go out to watch Dungarvan's game, but we don't play anymore. But we kind of come just after minor there, we kind of found a great thing called alcohol, and didn't go mad on it ever, like, but just that's just the way it went, and played a bit of junior for a while after it. But there's plenty of fellas, I'd say that goes on in every club.
Oh, of course,
fellas,
it does,
18, 19, and then
of course it does, yeah.
A pint becomes more interesting than going to training or that kind of way.
Yeah, you have to balance it all right. You have to balance it.
It's a serious commitment. There's some serious commitment for them. Like
for the senior,
Ballygunner are nearly like a professional team. I was watching them more than up there. Like they're nearly like a professional team.
Yeah. For the senior hurlers and senior footballers, when you're at the top, like it really is, you have to be so well tuned in. It's part of your life. It has to become.
It's a job, really, in many aspects.
Yeah. And
do you go to many of the club games?
I would, yeah. I'd go to a fair few of them. I would, yeah. And we'd be involved now in a few soccer teams. Like one of my soccer teams in Bows, I coached them up in Ballygunner in the arena and see the other lads training beforehand in the winter, and like Passage would be the club obviously that I'm connected with, in terms of that's where I'm living in Crook, in Passage. But the commitment the lads do is phenomenal, it really is,
Passage are actually. In 2013, Passage are actually the last team to beat
in the championship locally.
What a freak of a game!
I know.
I think they were winning. They were winning by about 5 points.
8 points at one stage.
8 points.
8 points.
With a few minutes to go, and there was 2 late goals.
Yeah.
But that's what it's going to take to beat them. So a freak kind of thing like that, I think, because if they're on their day.
Yeah, no, they're so strong.
Yeah.
And Desi Hutchinson is a great player.
He's flying, lad.
Oh, brilliant
He's flying.
player.
He's 5 points in play the other day.
Unbelievable, yeah.
He's flying.
I'm going to have to go in 2 minutes.
Oh yeah, not a bother. Just on about Desi Hutchinson. When was he playing? He's only back this year. Obviously, he's playing the soccer for the Bows. But one of my friends, Billy Egan, used to always mark him underage, and Billy used to always do very well off. And I must find out off 1 to 2 did he ever actually register a score off. I'm not sure. I think was he 16 or 17? He went out to Brighton, wasn't it? Roughly around that time. But no, he's flying for him.
And Bill was able to mark him, was he?
Oh, he was indeed. Oh yeah, they
have to get the information from Bill then.
Let's find out what the story is. Billy won't be long telling me. He'd only love to tell me. So I'm kind of slagging him there the last few weeks, saying, he never scored off you. I must find out for definite. Did he actually not?
I might ask Desi. I'll ask Desi. Does he remember Billy Egan from Dungarvan?
Hey, 2,000,000% he'll remember him that. If you ever talk to him, ask him. What's on the agenda now today? Where are you heading to?
I have some interviews to do now back in the studios for tomorrow, and we've got more stuff coming in tomorrow and Christmas stuff and all sorts of different things. So that's great. Like I said, every day is different. And do you know what's great about it, Shane? 1 minute you'd be talking about politics, next you'd be talking about sex, next you'd be talking about potholes, next you'd be talking about all sorts of different things, cats and dogs and all sorts of stuff. So it's
everything.
There's a variety. Yeah, it's a great variety.
Were you ever on the phone to any people in Templars? No, giving out about the
the students. Yeah.
I never actually. I could just vaguely remember people giving out about it. But what you know now, because you're like, is it mostly student accommodation there and just with families mixed in between?
It is. That's what it is. Yeah. What happens is
that's not ideal.
No. What happens is during Rag Week, then you have a lot of students would invite their friends down. From other parts that wouldn't be students, and then they go mad.
And they think they're students.
So
and witnesses coming up as well, sure.
Yeah. So a lot happening.
I'm sure you'll be getting a few phone calls about that somehow as well.
When are you putting the tree up?
Oh, lad. We actually put the tree. I'm working outside in the Duggan Primary Care Centre there.
Oh yeah. You put the tree up there.
We put the tree. The tree was put up on Monday or Tuesday night, just gone. Early enough, maybe. I don't know. The lights are going on Sunday, of course.
Yeah. Big hassle or big controversy in Dungarvan about the lights.
Yeah, what?
The man who was putting it up for years, the council gave it to a different person, a different contract. So
he was doing it for 29
years.
29
years. Yeah. So it was a big hassle about that. But
and was there a reason or just?
They were talking about health and safety, but we had him on the radio last week and everything is 100% fine. There was never any problem with his health and safety. All the credentials were there, but whatever reason the council did it, they did it. So unfortunate for the poor man, the family,
29 years, that's some service, lad.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
But these things happen.
So happy Christmas to Mary anyway. I won't curse anymore, Mary.
She's actually watching our teenage now. Damien, thank you very much for your time.
It's a pleasure, and happy Christmas to you.
I won't keep you any longer.
Thank you very much.
Happy Christmas to you and a happy New Year.
Say hello to Billy first.
I will, of course.
Billy Egan.
Yeah, make sure you ask Desi now. Did he ever score off? Thanks very much.